Hey everyone, it's Belle. Quick note before the video, you might notice every once in a while it sounds like I've moved away from the microphone. I don't remember if I did this when recording. I recorded about 2 nights ago. But it does sound like that when I listen to it. And I don't know how to fix it currently. So I'm gonna have to stick with it. I'll see if the editing programs software I use lets me fix that, but I don't think so, and I can't re-record exactly another one. So hopefully it's not too distracting. I know it's a bit quiet in some places. If it's too quiet, I'll try to put in subtitles, but I think you can still hear me through all times. Just sometimes it's a bit quieter. So yeah, let's get into the video now, I guess. Hello, my sleepy friends. This is Belle from the Sleepy Podcast with a mic worse than usual. I've bought a new mic hoping it would sound better than my phone, and I don't know if I've achieved what I wanted to. I also recorded an episode a good few weeks ago about Twilight and never worked on it, so eventually that'll come out. Maybe. Unless this comes out after that episode, which would be kind of funny. I should take these headphones off. Now, if you know me personally, which most of the people who watch these do, you'll know I have a notoriously awful self esteem. I consistently talk very badly about myself, about my body, about my looks, about my personality. Some of it is anxiety, a lot of it is just, teen angst, I guess. Though, I mean, technically, I'm not a teen anymore, I'm 18. I don't know. Uh, but a lot of it is just kind of how we've been raised, how the society sees us, how we see ourselves. But I thought that was a very interesting topic. Really interesting to me on how we see ourselves this way. And the reason I specifically got the idea to make this is a little story that happened to me. Story that happened? Who the fuck talks like that? I was on a call with a good friend of mine, somebody I think is quite cool from my point of view, but I think everyone's a lot cooler than me, so that doesn't mean much. And this person switched on the camera to show me their dog, which is great. I love dogs. Y'all send me your pictures of pets, especially right now. I just went through a bad thing. I need more of them. Um, they might make me cry, but I need them. So then they put their camera on them, and I felt like I wanted to put my camera on, because that just seems fair enough. Fair enough? What? And they were quite adamantly against me doing that. Now, I have no idea why. Very logically, I know. I can't speak like a normal person. In the logical part of my brain, I understand that it's not because they think I'm an ugly bitch and they're scared of seeing my face. But obviously, my brain instantly went into a bad place, and for the rest of the night, it was kind of they don't like me, they think I'm ugly, they don't want to see my face, which is silly. Even if you don't think somebody is aesthetically beautiful, which, by the way, I will be using aesthetically a lot, even though I probably don't know the actual meaning of that word. Even though they, don't think you're aesthetically attractive, no one would, like, a good friend at least, would never be like, oh, you're so ugly, I don't want to see your face. That's stupid, okay? That's dumb. Um, and, that's from that it brought up the idea in my head of we see ourselves really badly, that even the smallest thing can set us off on this. Everyone hates me, I'm ugly, I'm stupid, all these things. Especially for teen girls and boys. And I wanted to talk about that because I am someone who really, like, it's really bad for me, and I have noticed that we don't really talk about these things enough for people to relate, I guess. I have this bad habit of getting characters I like and making them cooler in my brain, coming up with new stories for them, new designs and all that to be cooler in front of their friends, which is a whole other topic I do want to talk about on why we do that type of thing. But I didn't realize other people did it, even though of course logically they would. There's a lot of people, there'd definitely be some. Until I read a post about it and then asked my friends and she's like, "Oh yeah, I do the same thing." And then it's suddenly like, "Oh, I'm not just a weirdo. This is actually pretty normal for people to do, to kind of come up with new ideas and stories for these characters. I guess to make themselves feel better or something. I'm not sure why we did that, but I will try to figure it out later." And that really also brought up that idea that we don't really talk about these things enough, so people will just think I'm a weirdo because how are you going to relate to people? You're not going to outright say, "Do you do this thing?" Because if you do, you might seem weird. And yes, we all know that a lot of us have self confidence issues, but we don't really realize how bad they are for people. You just think, "Oh, I'm just like this." And again, logically, I realize that people are probably dealing with the same thing that I do on a daily basis, but in my head, it's like, I'm so weird, I need to stop being like this. And that's not how you fix this. A lot of, like, especially my parents, I'll be like, I'm really self conscious about myself, about my looks. We don't talk about it a lot because they always give me the same response: stop. As if that stops it. Like when it actually like we start getting in an argument and I say I'm consistently always anxious about myself, my personality, I really hate myself. And sometimes even to my dad, who is not the best person for this conversation, I will say I hate myself. I hate how I look. I hate my personality. I hate my voice. I hate everything about me. And his response will just be like, "Well, you need to stop." And it's like, "No fucking shit, I need to stop." It doesn't, you can't fix me by telling me to stop being this way. It's like looking at a depressed person and saying stop being depressed. Like, no, that's not how that works. Though obviously depression is a lot more severe than this, that doesn't mean it can just be fixed by saying stop feeling that way. Or like, I'll get really anxious and people will just say stop being anxious. Like, that's not how that works. You're not helping me. You're just making me feel bad for being me. I just feel like I'm doing something wrong. And you're not doing anything wrong, okay? It is a problem. It is something we all need to work on, but that doesn't mean there's something like wrong with you. It's a problem that we need to work on, but it doesn't make you a bad person. It's just something that kind of makes it harder to like be happy with yourself, and I think that is an issue we should be working on to make ourselves happier. But it's not something that people can be like, "Well, stop doing it," because you're not helping me feel better. You're making me feel like a bad person for being myself. This is a part of me. Now I've gone on a giant rant for a good 5 minutes, but I do actually have a list of things to talk about. From them, I have a little smaller list of things I don't like about myself. It's fairly small. I think, how many things do I have? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I have 11 things here that are all physical things I don't like. We're not gonna talk about the other stuff, like, I guess voice is technically physical, but like voice, personality, all that, because that is a whole different conversation. That is a different situation altogether, and this is already, I think, going to be considerably long to edit. But yeah, I have this list of body things I do not like about myself, so I will be trying to relate some things to them and explaining why I don't like those things, how I think I got to that point, if it's just something that I lived with, or if there's a specific reason to how I got here, uh, and trying to explain like how I think I could maybe get better about it, but I don't think I'll have a lot of answers for that. So the first thing we obviously talked about is the call, which is the reason I want to do this. Another one I wrote for the call is the nose of Zoom, which what? But what that means is I think I just did the F instead of an on. Wow. Um, the nose goes into another part of myself I don't like, my nose. I'm Jewish, and there's a whole stereotype of a Jewish nose, which yes, I have a Jewish nose, but it's not super big. But when I look at myself in a call, which is the only times you're really looking at yourself and talking to somebody else, I feel quite awful about it. It looks quite bad, and I don't know if that's the positioning of my video camera, because it doesn't look that bad on a mirror. It just looks like another weird part of my face or something. But I look at it and it's like I hate my nose. I don't like how it looks to people. And I don't think people think that badly of my nose, but I just look at it and I hate it. And that is another thing. It's weird because we have, like, in a lot of, manga and anime, TV in general, noses are very small, cute type of things. And people get plastic surgery to make their nose smaller, as if there's something wrong with having a big nose. There isn't anything wrong. Which, by the way, if you want to get plastic surgery to change something about yourself, go off, sis. I'm not stopping you. I'm not here to criticize somebody for doing what they want with their body. I'm here to talk about how I think these things are affecting us. We really hate our noses. We want small, cutesy, little button noses. Like, because that's, I guess, kind of a trend. We're very uh attracted to certain things. It's sort of its own trend type of thing. And that makes people like, oh, my nose is ugly. I don't like it. And it's like, you have a normal nose. If people can be sexually attracted to Severus Snape, then you're fine. Legit, nothing is wrong with you, babe. But yeah, I feel like the nose is like a big thing that we can't stand because I need to have a small, cute button nose, which is more for girls than boys. I think boys might also have an issue with it. A lot of my stuff will mainly relate to girls because I do not understand boys well enough. So if a guy wanted to make, a video about it, then like I wouldn't complain. I'd love to hear your thoughts because I don't know what it's like. Pornhub and tits, that relates to tits. This is another conversation I had. Two conversations. Number one conversation was specifically about the titties. I don't like my breasts. Uh, they're large, and that makes me very unhappy, which a lot of people think is weird, I guess. I don't like their size because I like to be assumed as a guy or just androgynous, which is weird, but ever since a young age, I started getting more tomboyish, I guess you could say. And as much as when someone called me a boy, I'd act really offended, I was always really happy with that. Which, when I brought it up to my mom, she was kind of offended, like, oh, well, are you a girl? And it's like, yeah, I still consider myself a girl. I still use she, her pronouns. That's what I'm comfortable with. I don't consider myself anything else. But I like to be perceived as androgynous. I like people not being able to guess my gender. And when you get older, let's say, ooh, my screen just went to sleep. My breasts started to grow, and it became a little harder to do. Now, even though I wear baggy clothes, I think because I've gained a lot of weight, my chest has grown a lot more, and it's become quite a hindrance to doing that, to the point where it's really really hard to be perceived as androgynous. Because even though, what the fuck, even if I'll wear more, I guess, quote unquote boyish clothes, I have short hair, my eyebrows are thick as fuck, which is a whole other thing. What? Oh my god, who is messaging me? It's a fucking group chat. Jesus. Even with all of those things, it's still, really hard to be perceived as androgynous with all those things that aren't typically feminine, I guess. Because, people be like, oh, that person looks like a boy, and then it's like, oh, no, wait, she has tits, and it's not just like a fat boy with tits, it's like actual tits, and it's like, I don't like that about myself. And that's weird, but it's something that I've had an issue with for quite a few years now since they really started to grow. So, I don't know. Somebody did tell me I should try to get like a reduction surgery, save up for it. Even my sister made a joke about it. My best friend was talking to me about it. They're really expensive, and they're more common for people with like breast cancer or something, but I just don't think I'd have the money for that. But if I ever get the chance or the money to do it, I feel like I probably would. Maybe after spending quite a few weeks shut the fuck up. Sorry, spending quite a few weeks, considering speaking to people around me, not my parents, because they don't really, they care more about aesthetics than my happiness sometimes. I feel like I probably would go ahead with it. I would want to do that to get a reduction surgery. But I feel like maybe if I like lost enough weight, that would happen on its own. But that's another thing where my weight is such a big problem for me that, because I'm quite overweight, I'm very embarrassed about it. But I don't do enough to fix it. I don't eat healthy enough, and I've started for the past week going on like hour walks. But that's just not enough to lose the weight I want to lose, and because of that, my weight becomes a big thing for me. Which is a whole other conversation because my whole life I've been told you need to lose weight. But why have I been told that? Not because of health. Obviously, health was brought up sometimes, and it is a health issue. Like gaining a lot of weight is a genuine health hazard. It's bad for you. But most of my life, it's been because you'll have trouble getting a boyfriend. Because people who look at you will look at you and say, "Your first impression." My mom always used to say me, "Are the first thing that matters." And it'll be a lot harder to make friends when they see like this overweight girl who hasn't brushed her hair or stuff, doesn't look good, and it'll be harder to get a job. And it's like, number one, I do not want to date a guy who doesn't like me due to my weight. That is the type of person I do not want to associate with. Number two, I don't want friends who don't like me due to my weight. Friends who only like you for aesthetic purposes are not friends. And number three, jobs are a bit of a different thing because you need to make money, but it still isn't the best idea to work somewhere where they care more about your looks than how good you are at your job, unless it's modeling. Like, if it's a job where that is obviously a preferred thing, then yes. But if it's like I'm doing a job, which would never be one of those, I want to do arts mainly for a living, as hard as that is to do. With all that, like, I feel like your looks should not be the most important thing when talking about gaining weight. It should definitely be put more on, you know, if you keep gaining weight, you're gonna have trouble doing this and this and this, and it's really unhealthy, and diabetes can be this and that. Like, talking about actual health hazards is probably more important than your aesthetic things. But I was talking about tits. Sorry. So I go to my mom and I say, I don't like my breasts. They're too big. It's annoying. Like, oh no. I asked her mother, is it weird to have saggy tits or saggy boobs? I said, cause I do have those. Mother's assumption is that girls who wear sports bras only, mainly, have those. which I googled and I don't actually think is true. I've been told this my whole life that if you, well, like for quite a few years now, that if you wear, mainly sports bras, you don't wear the proper ones. Metal ones? No, with the metal stuff in them. Your tits are gonna sag. And it's like, I've googled it and I'm pretty sure that's just straight up not true. And I've tried to explain this to her, but it doesn't seem like she agrees. Because a metal wire probably can't really keep your tits in shape. And having saggy boobs is like fairly normal actually for you. It's a completely normal thing. My mom says this is to do with if you're constantly, I guess hunched over, which is something I'm always. For quite a few years now, I think it's because I always draw on the table. I mean, like with a book on the table instead of having it staying up, and because I'm always on my laptop, I've become quite, I guess, hunched in a way. I'm always hunching, which doesn't add to the fact that I'm already fucking tiny. I'm consistently hunching. I'm doing it right now actually, and it's an issue I'm having a lot of trouble fixing about myself. It's also something I'm not proud of. And my mom's saying, "Oh, because you're hunched over and because you're only wearing sports bras." And so, from my mom's point of view, evidently it is not normal to have those, which is like a very uncomfortable thing. Because it's like, oh, so am I weird for having that? You're not, honey, you're not, okay? It's normal. It's a normal thing for the body, and you shouldn't feel like it's not. But, that all led into the, like, trans thing, which thought I might be trans. That leads into the other conversation I had, which was in year 11 health class. I had this lovely teacher, which Ms. Z, I'm not going to say your name. I had two teachers. One of them was an older teacher whose name I can't remember. I think we had her for maybe half the year. It was a long time ago. It's like 2 years. It wasn't that long. She was great, and she scared me so much, only because she was slightly more serious, which is fair enough. And our other teacher, Ms. Z, was a younger woman. Shut the fuck. What? Oh, yeah, mom left home. Thanks, 360. Great, didn't realize. Wasn't like I was there when she was leaving. Uh, Nicest woman. Like, one of the nicest teachers I've ever met. Also had a giant crush on her. Miss, I'm so sorry you had to deal with me for like a whole year. You were a great person, and I hope you had better students afterwards. Year 11 kids did not like health. Jesus Christ. But like, yeah, I remember having a conversation with how we were learning in health about how porn is illegal for people under 18, which for me was like a really weird thing because I had been watching it for quite a few years already because I'm a huge pervert, and I didn't know it was illegal. I was like, oh, what the fuck? That's not allowed. And I'm like, why is it illegal? And she's saying because it can like have bad effects. People like, a lot of it is like teaching young boys how treating women wrong, giving people false expectations, all this type of thing. And it's like, yeah, that's completely normal. But back then, when I was young again, only 2 years ago, and full of shit, I was just like, no, how can it give you false expectations? Because in my head, it never gave me false expectations. It did. In fact, quite a few of them. Now that I'm older, I do understand that sex doesn't work as it does in porn. Not because I've had it, I'm still a sad fucking virgin, but I do understand better that that is what I read in a lot of like hentai and seen in porn is not the same in real life, especially for first timers. It's just not how that shit works. But when you're like watching pornography, you're seeing these women with these really nice tits, and it's like, oh, I should have that. But not true. You don't have to have that. Women in porn are specifically chosen to be appealing. That's the point of pornography. They need to be appealing to, men and I guess women as well. I mean, they're appealing to me. So they need to be something that, well, like someone, something. Jesus Christ, I'm sexist to myself. They need to be someone you want to look at. And that means having nice breasts, a nice breasts. Ah, my lips are fucking dry. Jesus, I left my bottle in the other room. Having a nice chest, having a nice, like, your body's nice. Having like yourself shaved everywhere. Except some people, I guess, are into body hair down there. I'm not, which is another thing I'm embarrassed about, which is body hair, which is a whole other thing. They need to be really appealing, especially to men. And if they're not, they're not going to make money. That's how that industry works. So if, let's say, you have a normal, like completely normal girl, nothing wrong with her, and her tits are shaggy, 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 row scoop. Wait, no, Scoopy, that's not shaggy. Oh, I didn't grow up on that show. I'm sorry. I grew up on the fucking live action movies. Isn't that sad? Um, if you see this girl who's got like saggy tits, you see this girl. If you have saggy tits, keep saying tits. How fucking Aussie, yo. Uh, that's completely normal. Just because you saw a girl in porn have like the nicest breasts ever does not mean that's what you're meant to have. Because there's nothing wrong with you. Your body is completely normal. And I think that also stems into that whole thing of we really want to appeal to our partners. This I don't know how this works for most people. I have a basic idea. Like one of my best friends is asexual, and I have no idea how asexuality works, so I do not assume about it because I don't understand it. I don't know if the appeal is the same or not because this is a different type of thing I don't get. If I really need to know something, but someone's phone just went off. Uh, fuck. Like I want to write an asexual character in the future, which I really want to write him at some point. If I really need to know things, I might ask her or Google. But other than that, it's like not really that much of my business. I know the basics, and that's what I need to know. I'm not gonna assume anything because that's not my sexuality. It's not my thing. I'm bisexual. I understand things about bisexuals and stuff, and I stick with that to the basis of what I need to know because I'm stupid. But I know for me, and for a lot of people like me, you want to sexually appeal to your partner. One day in the future, if you have a partner, which I'm not saying, pardon me, you have to have, there's a whole thing where we really grow up thinking we have to have a partner. You don't. Like, you feel really lonely, I think, partially because of evolution, but also a lot of it is the media being like such a big thing of needing a partner. And for me, especially reading so much romance in my life. But if you get a partner, you really want to appeal to them with your body, which I think is not the best thing because no matter what, there will be something with your partner you probably don't like as well. Maybe you saw a weird mole in a place you didn't expect. You're not gonna break up with them over it. Maybe that person has a bit more fat than you expected. You're not gonna break up with them over it. You know, maybe their teeth are kind of yellow, like mine. You're not gonna break up with them over it. But when you have those qualities, suddenly it's like, but what if they don't like me? But what if they don't want to be with me because they see those? What if they look at those and, like, even if they don't break up with me, they're just thinking badly of me? And it's like, it doesn't matter, babe. It doesn't. Even if they are thinking badly, by the way, those thoughts are in their head. And they should grow up. As humans, we're very judgmental. It's kind of a part of us, but they're not gonna leave you because of it. And if they do leave you over aesthetic qualities, you deserve better. You deserve to be in a better relationship, and it's good that they broke up with you because that means you can get out of the relationship faster and get over them because they're garbage. You deserve better in life. But at least for me, this idea that one day I might show my body to somebody, one day I'll be in bed with someone, and I will be taking off my clothes, and they'll see that, my boobs are saggy and my body is larger and this and that, and it's like I feel so embarrassed even thinking about it because I think that person will hate it, and that's not fair on me and that person. It's not fair on me because obviously it's making me anxious, it's making me unhappy, it's making it harder to find anyone who would want to be with me. But it's also unfair on your partner. Like, if you get a partner and you're consistently not trusting them to love you for who you are, then it's like your partner deserves like a bit more, trust in them. They deserve, if you've really decided on being with them, then they deserve to know that you trust them to not be a dick to you. Unless they've really shown to be somebody who you can't trust with that, they deserve that little bit of, oh yeah, I don't think you're gonna break my heart in a week's time. And it's kind of, it's sucky that we have this much anxiety about these parts. I think the reason, let's say for me, a lot of my life has been based on being pleasing to others, I guess. This partially has to do with my anxiety, where I need to please everyone, but also just in general. But my mom always, when I was growing up, it always had to be, you need to be this, you need to be that. And when I was talking to her about wanting to reduce my titties, and she's like, so many girls wish they had that, which is awful. Don't say that to people. Somebody wants to cut their hair, and you say so many people wish they could have your hair. I don't care what those people wish to have. I'm not those people. I have different things I want to look like, and it's not them. Good for them that they want the hair. I don't. I want to have short hair. And same with the tits. Yeah, somebody else wants them. So? Am I somebody else? And then suddenly it comes down to doing something they don't like. Like everyone's getting a haircut now, a short haircut. Oh yeah, well, like everyone. If everyone jumped off the house, would you do it? It's like, no. But you are the one consistently comparing me to others and then making me feel guilty when I don't want what others want. Like, what? But so I'm like, give me a good reason why I would want to keep my tits. Which originally I thought she would say, milk for a baby, but I always say to my parents, I don't want to have a kid. They don't agree. They think one day I'll change my mind. I don't think I will. I've spent enough time with my nephew to know that I love him, but I cannot take care of one on my own. Um, or with anyone really. I wouldn't be able to take care of a kid. I'd fuck that kid up mentally. That would suck for them and me. It would just be a bad time for the kid. I just don't think I'd manage that. But I asked my sister later, and she says no. The reason she didn't is because having big breasts when you have to give milk to a baby is actually very, very uncomfortable because they grow more with milk, and then they'd be too big. You'd be in pain, you'd have too much lactation. It would just be a very bad situation. You wouldn't want that. It's better to have smaller boobs when you're pregnant. So that's why. That's a fun fact for you. I'm just saying that because I didn't know that, so I hope that is nice for you all to learn. So I asked my mom why would I want them, and she says, well, they're more attractive to guys. Now, first of all, I have told my mother I'm bisexual, but that was a few years ago, and I do think she's just either wiped it for her memory, or chooses to willfully ignore it. I've never told my dad, for obvious reasons. But yeah, my mom just thinks I'm gonna date a guy, which recently, now that I've caught feelings, as they say, it does make my parents happy. I think my dad's just happy to know that I'm not a lesbian. Too bad for him. I'm gonna date a girl if I had the choice. I'm gonna date. What the fuck am I talking about? And I look at her and I'm like, why would I want to date a guy who only likes me for my boobs? And it's like, no, 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 but it's like a plus for them. And it's like, good for them that it's a plus. It's my body. Why am I basing how I want to look, how I want to feel about my body, because of how it would make a guy feel? And that's this whole idea that's like very provident. I don't know how to say that word.
Provident.
In houses like mine and just in society in general. It's like, yeah, I know you don't like this part of your body. I know it makes you unhappy, but it could make a guy happy one day, and it's like, good for him. But I would hope that that person would also be happy with me with my choices. If my choice is I want to get rid of this part of me because it makes me incredibly unhappy for years now, shouldn't my partner be happy? Even if they're attracted to tits, I'd think they'd be happy. But it's this idea of, yeah, but the man won't like it. It's like, first of all, there is no man currently. I am still single. Second of all, fuck the man. Literally, not. It's none of his business what I do. It's my body, it's my rules. Like, the whole birth control thing is stupid enough as it is, but now I can't even get a titty reduction because a guy I might date in the future won't like it. Like, screw him. Alright? Screw that guy. Don't let people tell you you can't do things to your body because somebody else won't like it. It's your body, babe. It's no one else's. A guy does not have the right to tell you what to do with it. Your parents do not have the right to tell you what to do with it unless they're really trying to help you stop any damage. Like when I was younger, I really wanted to get I don't remember what those eye things are called that you can put on to change your eye color, and they stopped me because those things can make you go blind. Fun fact. And I don't bleach my hair anymore because that can be really bad. I've seen the effects of that after doing it too much. But if it's just like aesthetically, oh, if you do this, you won't be as attractive or something, fuck him. Don't fuck him. They're your parents. But I mean, depending on who your parents are. But, like, don't listen to them. Honey, you are beautiful. Actually, I want to talk about that as well. A lot of people tell me, or say online, you're beautiful. That doesn't mean anything, alright? I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, you're beautiful no matter what you do. Because the bullshit, you don't fucking believe me. I know you don't. I can't see you. Some YouTuber will say, oh, you're beautiful, you're amazing. That YouTuber doesn't know who I am. They've never met me. They have never seen me, right? I don't believe them. Sure, it seems like, oh, it's a nice guy, but like, it doesn't matter to me that they've said it. I don't feel better about myself. you know? Because why would I? That just seems like complete bullshit. They've never seen me. Maybe to somebody else this works, but to me it's always just been like, well, it's just empty words. You don't know what I look like. I never get angry, obviously. It's like, oh, the YouTuber is nice, but it doesn't help. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, you're beautiful no matter what you do. I think you are beautiful and you should consider yourself beautiful, but I know that me saying it is the same as me saying stop feeling sad or anxious. It's not gonna do anything. It's not how this works. I'm gonna try and help you work through why you have these problems, or at least realize that you're not the only one, that there are others like you, and that you can talk to people about it. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to force you to feel differently, because I know that doesn't work. I know that just makes you feel bad and just shitty about yourself, and you shouldn't. I don't want you to. I want you to feel better after listening to my podcast, or at least maybe understand yourself a bit better. And if understanding yourself better somehow is listening to me talk about my own body issues and realizing you had the same thing or you have the same thing, then that's what I want. I want people to know that they're okay, that they're normal, that you are valid no matter fucking what the issues. You have keep hearing voices. Do you have like weird ass yellow teeth like me that had like holes in them until recently? You're valid. You have thick eyebrows? I have those. You're valid. Do you wanna are you like bigger than girls on TV? You're valid. I don't fucking care what you have. You are completely valid. You are amazing, alright? Don't let some shithead tell you you're not. And I know that doesn't really help you, but I hope you realize that you are normal no matter what you are. I don't care what it is. You're missing an arm. You are valid as fuck. You are a completely normal human being. There is nothing wrong with you, alright? Don't let some dickhead treat you and make you feel bad because of who you are, because of your body. You're great, okay? That was a weird tantrum. What the fuck was I even talking about? Oh yeah, Pornhub. That was a while ago, like a good 30 minutes ago. Your body really gets shown through Pornhub that in sex, it's a very specific way how you have to be doing it, but also, did my mic move? I don't think it's picking me up as well. But also, it's, your body needs to be very specific. It needs to be very thin, cute, nice curves, big titties, except for like specific kink types, which I use sometimes thicker. I don't think it's picking me up very well. Ooh, that's not good. Huh? Is that working? I think that's working a bit better. Yeah, it just like, and that goes with the media as well, where let me just sign off what I've already done, where the media gives off this very specific type of look on how you're meant to look. Like, girls are very, thin and cute. Even in a lot of, I saw a Lavender Town video about like her least like tropes, and it was the ugly girl type, and that also kind of gave me an idea for this video, where the ugly girl is always super fucking attractive. Like, why am I whistling? Very cute, sexy girl that, like, I wish that type of person would even look at me. Talking a bunch of shit. Most of my friends are so attractive. All of my friends are so attractive. Holy shit. But these girls are so hot. I wish any of them would look at me romantically, I mean. Uh, and just because they have glasses and a bun, suddenly they're not attractive and they're so ugly. And it's like, no, no, they're not. What is this? First of all, very, very, very offensive to, regular teenage girls and just adult women who dress comfortably. Oh, you're ugly now. Like, no, what the fuck? No, they're not. But also, it's this idea that it's like, even the ugliest girls are super attractive. Look at you. You don't look anything like this amazing popular actress. What's wrong with you? She's the ugliest of the ugly. And, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You can't just be fixed with a makeover? Ew, you can't be fixed with taking off your glasses and putting your hair down? Gross. Like, no, fuck you. Alright? Those women are super attractive already. And they've also had a ton of makeup on. Alright? I'm fine as I am. And the fact that you need to look like that to make yourself feel better is like, no, dude, that's shitty. You need to be you. You don't have to be that to be happy. Those girls are like, look like that. That's great. And I look like this. That's fine. I mean, I don't think it's fine, but it is fine. I think something I really like for this type of genre is Curse Princess Club. I kind of wanted to advertise this one a bit because I really love it so much. Cursed Princess Club is a story about this princess named Gwendolyn, or Gwen as she goes by. She's a really sweet girl who is not aesthetically attractive to what you would normally see in society, uh, and people even think she's cursed, which is a common thing in their society of loads of princesses and princes. It's kind of meant to be like a fairy tale world, you know? And she sees herself as fine, you know? Her family really loves her, they're really kind. She thinks she's fine. Until one day, her now fiance, Frederick, I believe his name is, says behind her back that she's ugly, and she hears him and she gets really upset and she gets really bad self confidence issues because she never like realized how people see her. No one's ever said that to her. And suddenly, her life is just gone down because she can't like love herself. And the story, a lot of it so far has been about, Gwen learning to love herself, or learning that people love her and she doesn't have to use like this person's validation to make herself feel better. There's also like just in general great plots, and the characters are great, and I really love Cursed Princess Club, so I really do recommend it. It's just a really fun story with really great characters, plots. I fucking love the colors. I know that sounds weird, but genuinely I love like people who can color like so nicely because it's like, oh, the colors in the story make me feel good. Oh my god. Anyway, sign Cursed Princess Club off because I actually did write that in my list. So I think we'll finish. You might notice this sounds like a different recording. That's because I'm recording this a few minutes after I recorded the intro note. A few minutes, not because I had to do something in between, but because this is about the sixth time I've tried recording this note without rambling off. The reason I didn't actually do an outro in the other one, because my parents got home before I could, but two, because there was more in the recording than what you. Shut the fuck up, my phone's vibrating. How do I turn off the vibration for a certain amount of time without going into my settings? What was I saying? Jesus. Right, yeah. My parents got home, but also there was more to the recording, and I was going through the list of the parts I don't like. But I feel like I could make a whole podcast about that on its own, speaking about why I dislike those things. Like I already spoke about some things I like because of porn, some's the media, that type of thing. But I feel like I could really go into maybe more detail for certain things, and also I could try to add to the list, see what else there is, because I'm always missing stuff. But just think about it. I feel like if I think about it a bit more, it could be an interesting podcast to specifically try to realize why I don't like those things. Like maybe someone said something that hurt me, or I saw something that made me realize I'm lacking in some way from my own point of view. I feel like that could be an interesting podcast and could maybe help somebody, try to rationalize in their own head why they dislike those things. Because I feel like sometimes I have really dumb reasons. Like one person will say something, and just that whole thing about me is just ruined to myself. And I just don't rationalize it. I just go along with that. So I think hopefully that podcast, whenever I make it, will help people. I'm currently working on stills. I don't know if I have them on this podcast. Hopefully I do. If not, then hopefully they'll be there next time. But I'm fairly close to finishing them. And hopefully I do have some drawings to actually do with my topic this time. And some very unflattering drawings of myself, which really are quite similar to the original. But yeah, the house isn't doing too great right now emotionally. If you know me personally, you probably know what happened. Not a great situation. Mentally, no one's doing amazingly, so I'm gonna keep working on these to get my mind off it, and just because I do actually enjoy it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Leave a comment, I guess, if you have a thought, because honestly, I'm interested in hearing them. I don't know what else I can do. And they do give me ideas for podcasts. I have a Twilight podcast coming up eventually, as stupid as that sounds, especially considering I'm making a Twilight comic. Ew. But I do have one eventually coming out where I want to talk about the characters and the story and what I think about it and what I think about all of it. And at some point in the future, I have a friend I want to do some podcasts with about sexuality and stuff, but like obviously like after lockdown and stuff, because recording online isn't the best. Um so yeah, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Whatever, I already said that. And I'll see you all later. I hope you'll have a good night's rest tonight.